Okay, good morning, John. In your recent talks on COVID-19 and the insurers' response, you said you'd come back if there were any updates. I understand there are, so I wonder if you could explain them for us. If I ask you some questions, perhaps you can run through the salient points for us this morning.
Yeah, of course. There have been some developments, and I thought it was right that everyone should be aware of them as soon as possible. So fire away, Jules. I'll do my best to answer the questions.
Okay, so what is the nature of the update?
Well, what we've had is a message from Lloyds of London Chief Executive Officer, Jon Neal. And in particular, he's given a number of updates as to how he's expecting insurers to deal with claims under COVID-19 and various other matters. Now, I think I should possibly, Julie, explain what Lloyds of London is, just in case people don't understand what Lloyds of London is.
That would be great. Thanks, John.
Sorry?
I said that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, no, Lloyds of London was founded in 1686 by Edward Lloyd. It is a corporation, and under that corporation's banner, a number of syndicates operate, many syndicates, and they're formed of individuals, but more importantly these days, corporate capital, and they underwrite risks underneath the Lloyds of London corporation banner, if you like. So whilst Jon Neal can't direct his syndicates can do something, he has power, because what he can say is, I expect you to do this. And ultimately, Lloyds have the power to tell syndicates to stop underwriting. They have various other powers. So if he's saying something, it should carry some weight with the syndicates within Lloyds.
Okay, so is it all direct business, or does reinsurance feature?
Well, Lloyds writes basically will underwrite, famously will insure anything. So it famously insured Richie Blackmore's fingers at one stage. It insures footballers, and in particular at the moment it's insuring Taylor Swift's legs. So it writes anything for a return in premium, obviously. But it's the third largest insurance market in the world. So not only does it write direct business, it also writes reinsurance business. So take an example that I know of, Kuwait Airways, its fleet's worth, I don't know, 100 billion. By local law in Kuwait, it has to insure that fleet locally. So it insures it with a local insurer. Now that local insurer can't possibly pay 100 billion loss if the worst came to the worst. And so that local insurer retains 5% typically of the risk, and then reinsures the rest of it to various syndicates around the world. And a lot of that ends up back in Lloyds. So directly or by reinsurance, I think Lloyds, I think it's the third largest insurance market in the world.
Right, Taylor Swift's legs, eh? Oh, so it has insurance market-wide influence then.
Absolutely, insurance market-wide influence. And therefore, this statement by the Chief Executive Officer will carry some weight with the syndicates.
Right. So what is the position then on claims relating to COVID-19?
Well, what he has said is that about 2 weeks ago, the corporation formed a working group with London market associations as well. And that group was meeting to discuss, in particular, policy coverage. And obviously, there has been a great many claims made by a number of entities, both personal, corporations, etc., in relation to pandemic and contagious disease cover. Now, what he has said is that where such pandemic contagious disease extensions are provided on business interruption, Lloyds would expect this to include losses relating to COVID-19. So, as I said when I gave the longer presentation, I thought this might happen. Various parties are now putting pressure on insurers to respond more positively to COVID-19 claims.
What about retrospective cover for COVID-19?
Well, as expected, and I think as I explained in my longer talk, you cannot buy cover now for COVID-19. Policies probably started to change at the end of January to exclude it. And as expected, Lloyds does not expect coverage to be extended retrospectively to cover COVID-19.
Okay, I understand there's news as well on policy renewals.
Yeah, policy renewals. Sometimes, normally most policies renew annually. You'll all have had your renew notice in your personal lives and indeed as corporations as well. The renewal notice comes out and you just renew automatically. But given that these are difficult times, what Lloyds is indicating to its syndicates is, well, look, if you can't get the information to renew that you would normally need, what you can do is extend the cover for, say, 3-4 months. So you don't necessarily renew, you will get an extension of the existing cover for a period of time to get us through this situation.
Okay, well, that makes sense. What about, is there any news on non-payment of premiums?
Yes, again, if you do not pay your premium, then I'm sure companies will know, and as we all know in our personal lives, you get a letter from the insurance company to say you haven't paid your premium, you've got 7 days to pay it, or we're going to cancel your policy. Now, what again the CEO of Lloyds says is that he wants underwriters to ensure that they do not automatically cancel policies for consumer and small, medium-sized businesses by reason solely of not being able to pay the premium. So again, he's expecting them not to cancel policies simply because someone's not been able to pay the premium.
Okay, interesting. And are there more resources being put into claims handling then?
Yes, he says that he, certainly as far as Lloyds is concerned, he is going to increase the Lloyds claims scheme from $250,000 to $500,000. He's also going to reduce the paperwork needed to make a claim because COVID-19 exists, and quite clearly lots of losses have flown from that. You don't need to prove the existence of COVID-19, for example. It's taken as read. Now, Julie, I must stress that this is a step in the right direction, but all he can do is say, that's what I'd like you to do. But by saying that to his syndicates, that will have a knock-on effect to the rest of the insurance market. However, I have to say, and I still continue to stress, that at the moment, there's little sign that insurers are moving their position from saying there is no cover for COVID-19. There is talk of a number of brokers getting together and starting a class action against 1 or 2 underwriters because they say, sorry, your wording said you provide cover, you should be providing it. There's also a meeting, I understand, taking place today between insurance brokers, underwriters and the government to discuss this whole situation, because whilst I'm sort of, I suppose, fairly neutral about Insurers Response, if insurers do say there is cover, the claims will be huge and it might drive some of them under. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. But again, I know, and the brokers I've spoken to this morning have said, there will be huge legal battles over this. And underwriters are worried about this, worried about the potential to hit their bottom line and possibly going themselves out of business. So much so that they're going to try, apparently, and use the AXA and Ted Baker defence, which was where AXA said, I know we provided you with this policy and it's in writing, we gave you the policy wording, but actually that wasn't the policy we meant you to have. Now, Mr. Justice Eder, as you can imagine, didn't have any time for that. So I don't think that one's going to win, but it will show the lengths that insurers may well be prepared to go to try and mitigate their potential exposure to this. However, the good news is, clearly they're having meetings with the government now. The chairman of Lloyds is saying to them, sorry, the CEO of Lloyds is saying, this is the behaviour I expect from you, our syndicates. So there is definitely movement in the right direction so that some form of cover should be available in due course to everyone. Last point though, given this situation, given what you've got to prove for business interruption claim, it is more important than ever that you keep records of your business interruption so that you eventually will be able to prove your loss. Julie, I hope that helps this morning.
It has indeed, John. Thank you. And I'm assuming there'll probably be more updates post the meeting between the government, et cetera, the insurance companies this afternoon.
As soon as I hear any more, Julie, I'll be in touch and we can have another go. But it's a step in the right direction, is all I can say at the moment.
That's perfect. Thank you very much, John. And we'll speak to you soon. Thanks for your time.
You're welcome, Julie. Take care.